We have discussed prior distribution, its importance, and things related to the prior distribution. Now, a common question which may arise in your mind is what will happen if I have a different prior distribution? How is it going to matter ultimately? Is the choice of prior that important? What will happen if I have what would have happened if I had started with a different prior? And so on and so forth. So, you may have n number of questions regarding the choice of prior. So, through this lecture, I am trying to illustrate how and when choice of prior does not matter. So that's why the title itself is a question. When choice of prior does not matter. So to understand this, let us consider a simple example of Poisson data. So suppose we have a random sample from Poisson distribution with mean theta. Assume that the prior distribution of theta is a gamma PDF of this form. So alpha raised to beta by gamma beta, theta raised to beta minus 1, e raised to minus alpha theta. Okay, so suppose prior distribution is gamma and xi's have Poisson distribution with mean theta. So the joint, instead of PDF, it should be PMF. Joint PMF of x1, x2, xn will be simply e raised to minus n theta, theta raised to summation xi upon product of xi factorial. So the joint distribution of x and theta will be simply product of these two. So theta raised to summation xi plus beta minus 1, e raised to minus n plus alpha theta, and the rest of the terms like alpha raised to beta by gamma beta and product of xi factorial. These terms will be there. So the posterior distribution, then to get the posterior distribution of theta, we will integrate out theta from here. So so that we will get the joint distribution of x1, x2, xn alone. And so after doing this, ultimately we get the posterior distribution of theta as gamma with parameters n plus alpha and summation xi plus beta like this here. So now what we do is we choose two different gamma densities as prior distributions of theta, and then we will look at the posterior distribution. So because the question was what will happen if I change prior distribution. So suppose we are dealing with two different gamma distributions and we are treating both of these gamma densities as prior distributions of theta. So we compute the posterior PDF and we store it in these vectors PSPDF1 and PSPDF2, and then we try to plot it. So how do we go about it? So we start with a very small sample. So sample size is really small. N is simply 5. Then we have taken theta to be 1. So we generate a sample of size 5 from Poisson distribution with mean 1. So now suppose AL1 and beta 1, these are the prior parameters of gamma prior of theta. So we assume that theta follows gamma distribution with parameters AL1 which is 0.2 and beta 1 which is 0.5. So now the aim is to plot to plot the posterior distribution. Now because the parameters are AL1, beta 1, as per the derivation we have here, the posterior will be 5 plus AL1 means 5 plus 0.2. So the first parameter will be 5.2, and similarly the second parameter will be summation xi plus beta. So summation xi plus 0.5. Okay, so posterior distribution of theta will be gamma with parameters n plus alpha 1 and summation xi plus beta 1. So the posterior distribution can be computed by using the function d gamma like this. So first we take some values of theta starting from the point 0.01 to 5 with the increment as 0.005. So we have a set of values of theta starting from 0.01 to the point 5. And now for each of these values in this vector th, we compute the gamma PDF with parameters n plus al1 and parameters summation xi plus beta 1. So scale parameter will be red parameter will be this, so scale parameter will be reciprocal of this. So when you specify the parameters of gamma distribution in R, be very careful because it is more likely to make a mistake while specifying parameters of gamma here. Then we plot this function. So we plot this posterior PDF using the function plot. Now similarly, we have now another set of parameters of gamma. So say AL2 is 3 and beta 2 is 2. So notice that AL1 beta 1 and AL2 beta 2 are not closer. In fact, they are away from each other. Alpha 1 beta 1 was 0.2 0.5, whereas alpha 2 beta 2 is 3 and 2. So now these are the parameters of prior distribution of theta. So again posterior distribution will have parameters as n plus alpha 2 and summation xi plus beta 2. So again we compute posterior PDF using this, and then we plot them together using the plot and lines command. So let us go to the next page to see what happens. So as you can see here, color equal to 2 and color equal to 4. So notice that this red one indicates the first posterior PDF, whereas the blue one indicates the second posterior PDF. So notice that they are not same but they are different. So because we started with two different prior distributions, so we are getting two different distributions as posterior distributions. Now let us see what happens if we increase the sample size. So now from the sample size 5, we are jumping to the sample size 100 and we are using the same prior distributions. That is the first prior distribution, the first choice is gamma with parameters alpha 1 beta 1 and the second prior is gamma with alpha 2 beta 2. Now let us see if we had started with these priors and if we have a sample of size 100, then what would have been the posterior. So we repeat the same exercise and we compute PS PDF 1 and PS PDF 2 like this. Now in this graph we have plotted both of them together. So notice that there is hardly any difference between the two densities. In fact, they appear to be almost same for all the values of theta. So clearly, as we increase the sample size of the data, the posterior distributions appear to be almost same, even though we had started with different prior distributions. So why does it happen? So here it can be explained like this. Since the posterior distribution of theta is proportional to the joint distribution of data and theta, so as the contribution of xi is more, the number of xi in this joint distribution, more will be the contribution of xi in the posterior distribution of theta. So as the contribution of xi increases, their dominance in determination of posterior distribution of theta increases, and as a result the choice of prior becomes less important. You can verify this result easily by considering another example. So you can take normal distribution, say normal theta 1. Suppose you have a random sample from normal theta 1. Take a sample of simply 2 or 3 and then assume theta having normal prior distribution, normal with parameters say A and B. So first choice of prior is normal with AB, second choice of prior is say normal with CD. You can choose A, B, C, D as per your choice, and then try computing the posterior distribution, try plotting it and see whether they come out to be nearly same if you increase the sample size. So this is what we mean by dominance of the data. That's why the title of the file is data dominates. So when you have large sample size, then in all those cases, whether you have pi 1 as the parameter or pi 2 as the parameter, it does not matter because the distribution of the Xi is going to have larger contribution in determining the posterior distribution of theta. So when you are dealing with large sample sizes, choice of prior does not matter much. That was the conclusion.